this presentation. It's part of the final thesis presentations for the Strategic Leadership Towards Sustainability program. We do have some guests, so I will go through the the introduction again. The thesis that we will, the presentation and seminar for this session will be on a thesis titled Strategic Sustainable Development as a Vision of Success for Organizational Social Responsibility Guidelines. So we, and in the thesis group are, to my left, Anastasia Dewanga from Canada, Simon Goldsmith from the United Kingdom, and Neil Pegram from Canada. Their opponents for this session are sitting to my right, and they consist of a group with Sean Westcott from the United States, Molly Doyle from the United States, and Dermot from Canada. Sorry about that. The supervisors for this thesis, the primary advisor was Richard Bloom from Australia, and the secondary was Dr. Hein Probert from Sweden. The format for this session will be a short 30-minute presentation, first by the thesis group that will go through the background, justification, methods, and key findings of their research. Then we'll have 20 minutes for the opponents to do a quick rebuttal, including commentary on whether they feel the thesis group has met the requirements of the thesis, including the application of the core concepts of strategic sustainable development, the logical flow, contribution to the field, and so on. Then we'll have 10 minutes for the advisors to give some quick comments and reflections, and then we'll open it up to the audience for comments and reflections up to around 12:30. We hope to end around 12:30. So I'll be the moderator for the question and answer period, and I'll keep a list of names. A couple of quick points before we start. If you have a cell phone, please turn it off. And if you please, out of respect for the group, and also to take advantage of their experience and the learning that they can provide us, please stay in the room, I guess you could say, until it's time to leave. So if you need to leave, please do so now, or the next opportunity will be at 12:30. Okay. Are there any questions regarding the format and any other comments? Okay. Without any further ado, I'll turn it over to the group, and I'll give you a 5 and 2 minute one.
Thanks.
So, good morning, everyone. I'm going to just thank you, Paul, for introducing us. So, I'm just going to quickly introduce our thesis project again, which is basically the strategic sustainable development as a vision of success for organizational social responsibility guidelines. And we've been working mainly with ISO 26000 social responsibility, which is currently in the works for. So I'm going to start off with what is the definition of social responsibility. So from our literature review, these are the key points that we've taken out to what social responsibility is and what it has been today. And which is strategy to generate profit without undermining society and the environment. It is a response to social stakeholder-led pressures and environmental issues. And the rapid growth of social responsibility in the 90s was in response to some of these points, such as increasing globalization, expansion of communication technologies, stakeholder pressures, perceived business case, and also intergovernmental bodies demanding good conduct. So our research methods to date, over the last 4 or 5 months, we've done numerous literature research. We've had a few meetings with ISO and SIS, which is the Swedish Standards Institute in Stockholm. We've also had online surveys to 3 different cohorts, which included the mirror groups in the Swedish International. Is it Swedish International Standards? Right, the Swedish. And we've also had experts in the SR field, and also to sort of a general market of people in the SR industry. We've had phone interviews and also discussion with peers and advisors. So this leads us to our research goal, which is to assist decision makers and clarify the challenges of moving organizations toward sustainability. And within that scope, we really want to try to find out the relationship and the goals of organizational social responsibility and sustainable development, and how sustainability concepts may assist the social responsibility guidelines.
Yeah, thanks, Anastasia. So that was basically what set us up to be here, and so we wanted to look at some research questions. Most of you guys have seen these before. They haven't changed, actually, which is been good for us in the last little while. So we won't spend too much time on them. Our real first step was asking, so you have these concepts of organizational social responsibility, and we have these concepts of sustainable development, which a lot of us all practice and spend lots of time looking at. So what do they relate? What's the different definitions? Where have they come from historically? Because we felt until we looked at that kind of a question, we need to know that before we could really assess what was going to happen, how we could help leaders with that. And our main question is, do they share this common goal of a sustainable society? And I think that was a real breakthrough for our group to say, there's a common goal there, maybe there's a common language, maybe they're actually looking at the same thing. So that was where we started the research question. So this is just some ideas that kind of came out right off the bat from our literature search, and this is us trying to say, where are these two concepts coming from, right? People talk about CSR, and they talk about SR and corporate responsibility, and then there's other camp and another group of people talking about sustainable development and sustainability and maybe ecological problems and stuff. So we kind of tried to, in our literature review and just discussions with people, and some of these results come from throughout our work, look at all the different aspects of this. So let's start over here. I'm traditional CSR. I'm an organization, and 30 years ago, I kind of really, when I had a problem, the problem was inside, right? It's our organization. Maybe it's our production. Maybe it's financial. It's just there. And then over the last while, more and more, the stakeholders that are outside us have been putting pressure on us, and that's kind of led us to this concept that maybe we need to not just look internally first, or we'll look internally first to see what a problem is, but sometimes we need to look externally to deal with problems. So what tended to happen was they kind of had a reaction to societal pressures. So social stakeholders of some type were up in arms about like labor rights, or they're up in arms about human rights, or media is concerned about stuff. So the organization will look internally first, and then to these stakeholder problems as kind of a secondary issue. What happens though is there's a social bias there, because the problems that kind of come to them come from only voices from other humans, right? And so the environment itself doesn't really have its own voice. What ends up happening is environmental concerns are often underrepresented. So you have them over there, but it is a step from the organization starting to look outside. And so they're looking outside and they're looking kind of towards, let's say, societal issues. And then on the other side of the, let's say, research departments or organizations, there was environmental scientists for years and years have been up in arms saying, oh my God, there's a global sustainability crisis. Things are going terribly. We've all heard the problems. And they're primarily were often driven by environmental concerns, sometimes humanitarian concerns, but they're looking at kind of global issues. They're looking at destruction of natural resources, all those kind of concerns. And only more recently have they started to say, okay, well, that's really great, but what does this mean to, let's say, an organization, or to, let's say, to society, and then to an organization? So they're kind of looking from the opposite direction.